Thanks for being here. I'm Troy Charles, and here are your top stories. The anticipated financial impact of COVID-19 on city coffers isn't nearly as bad as the initial estimates. A $7 million end-of-the-year tax shortfall is what's now being forecast. Back in May, the city had anticipated more than a $12 million hit. City Council has initiated several cost containment measures since the beginning of the pandemic. The city has saved about $1.4 million in utility and fuel costs. It's also trimmed $1.2 million in health benefits. Revenue is also going up as some municipal facilities reopen to the public, and the city is expected to bring in about $800,000 from transit now that the $3 bus fare has been restored. The latest numbers come from Thunder Bay's second quarter budget variance report, which will be presented to City Council on Monday. At that meeting, Council will also receive an update on protective shields for city bus drivers. Shields have been installed in 2 buses as part of a 3-month pilot project. And if that goes well, they'll be installed in all buses by next year. Now, for many, they've become synonymous with holiday celebrations, but Councillor Aldo Roberto wants Thunder Bay to impose tighter restrictions on fireworks. He's asked city staff to take a closer look at the city's fireworks bylaw. Currently, private residents are allowed to set off fireworks on most statutory holidays and during the 3 days leading up to those holidays. But Roberto says some people are stretching the rules and disturbing those who live near them.
People with animals in particular are really complaining, and they should, because the animals are reacting like they're scared. They seem to be scared or going into shock with the sounds that are happening. Some people suffer from PTSD. Obviously, it affects them. And finally, people go to sleep around 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning. The fireworks continue to 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, even on days when we're not celebrating.
Some councillors believe some people simply don't know the rules. Administration will look at an educational campaign as part of its report on possible bylaw changes that will come back to council by November 23rd. Now, the townships of Conmee and Oliver Papoonge continue to work towards a merger and have secured some assistance that will help them make the critical decision if it makes sense to combine the 2 communities. Lucy Kloosterhuis and Kevin Holland are the mayors of Oliver Papoonge and Conmee, respectively. The 2 recognize the benefits and risks that come with amalgamation, but say for now they've secured an accounting firm that will weigh the good and bad, leaving them with a clear picture before their communities make a decision.
Thornton as a third party, and they are going to amalgamate all of this information, and it'll be out to the public sometime at the end of September. Other than that, Grant and Thornton will be supplying all the information to the public from this point forward.
They will be engaging the public through surveys and information sessions, open houses, and public meetings. So we've turned it over to them to facilitate that. Our municipalities are working on compiling information that Grant Thornton will also review.
Grant Thornton's report to the 2 communities should be complete by late September. Face masks are officially mandatory in Thunder Bay as of this past Friday. That mandate was already in place for hospitals, but now a Thunder Bay woman who's about to give birth says face masks combined with her hearing impairment will make the delivery process more difficult. Cole Promain has that story.
Sabrina Ree is hard of hearing and expecting a child in the next few weeks. She's quite troubled about how her delivery will progress if she is unable to read the lips of the doctor and nurses performing the delivery.
I'm extremely concerned, and it's a very personal matter that I've brought forward. I mean, nobody wants to say, hey, I'm hard of hearing, but I believe that it will help a lot of other women who are expecting, and also the general population.
Ree says see-through face masks like this should be considered in this case. Hospital COVID-19 manager Dr. Stuart Kennedy was recently made aware of Ree's unique situation and says the hospital is prepared to cater to each patient's specific needs.
What we do is we look at their circumstances and we see how we can actually best meet their needs. They're actually requesting a clear mask. We haven't had that request. We're looking into it. But there'll be other requests in unique individual cases, and it goes back to our IMS team, it goes back to our leaders to actually develop, if we don't have them, another process to move forward with.
The manager has made an exception for my support person, my doula actually, to wear a face shield, which is wonderful. But like, again, she's gonna have to be doing the translating if I'm not hearing, right?
Ree's baby is expected in the next 3 weeks. Cole Promain, TBT News.
New Democrat MPP Saul Mamakwa is calling upon the province to improve the level of safety for children who are living within the foster system in Ontario. He says COVID-19 has elevated the risks for those children, all while the province has been loosening safety rules. At the same time, he wants the government to release information regarding the number of deaths of children in care that have occurred since the beginning of the pandemic. His request comes after media outlets who have filed access to information requests have received little or no results.
The government has refused to complete the Freedom of Information Act that requests to disclose the number of children that have died and been seriously injured in the child welfare system since COVID-19 began in March. This information should be readily available to the public, Mr. Speaker. The fact that the government makes it so difficult to access these numbers doesn't create any trust. Why does Ontario not want us to know how our child welfare system not protected children and youth during this pandemic?
Our top priority remains the health and safety of well-being of children, youth and families in Ontario, including those who are supported in the child welfare system. Throughout the COVID-19 outbreak, Children's Aid Services continue to operate and provide services to children, youth and families. Societies have been encouraged to find alternative methods for providing services while observing public health recommendations and using technology where appropriate. As part of this government's commitment and efforts to stop the spread of COVID-19, we have invested up to $40 million to support organizations that provide residential services, including residential services and settings for children and youth.
A new store has opened at Inner City Shopping Centre. Thunder VR is a virtual gaming experience and is the first of its kind in Thunder Bay. The Virtual Gaming Centre has 8 10x10 stations for residents to enjoy. Users wear a headset to transport them to the virtual world and play games with 2 controllers. Gamers will be able to choose from over 400 games once the store is at full operation. Those interested can book a reservation online, call in, or walk in depending on available resources. Those reservations can be booked for up to 8 people as friends can play games together from their separate rooms. Owner Ken Jones expects to be busy once the word is out on opening.
So I think once we start and people see that we're operating an intercity mall at the old West 49 store down here near Marshall's, then they'll start coming in and asking questions and start making plans and bookings. So I got my first booking online for Tuesday, which is nice. So I hope it just builds from that.
Thunder VR operates on the same hours as the Inner City Shopping Centre, which is open from 11 to 7 during the week and 11 to 5 on weekends. Eco Superior has welcomed 2 participants who will take part in a 3-month field-based marine conservation research program on Profree Island. Funded by the Ocean Wise Conservation Association, the program connects young professionals with field experts in specialized research studies. Ava McCrae reports.
Simon Boudreau and Kelsey Herglot set off on a 3-month research project this morning to Porphyry Island. Funded by Ocean Bridge Direct Action with support from Eco Superior and the Canadian Lighthouses of Lake Superior, the pair will be collecting species data, water and weather data collection, and dive into the world of forest therapy. The research will benefit all parties as not much is known of the 2-kilometer long and half-kilometer wide island. Boudreau admits it will be an adjustment period to life on the island.
That we obviously don't know much about, and the conditions are different than living on a city, like here or like back home. So that's definitely going to be interesting, and we'll probably need some time to adjust to the situation.
It's just an exciting opportunity to be able to offer a really win-win-win situation here. So the students are going to have, I think, a pretty phenomenal, memorable, and perhaps even life-changing experience this summer on beautiful Porphyry Island.
The program is one of the first to be done on the lake's north shore. Resources will be brought to the team once a week, including food, water, and other research materials. The average day will include an early wake-up and heading into the forest to grab pictures and begin the day's work. While the island may be small, Herglotz knows the research the team is doing will go a long way.
Like, a lot of research is needed, and especially with climate change and ecosystems changing. The more research they have now, the better you can track it.
Porphyry Island is a fantastic place. It's becoming a more attractive place for visitors to go. And the more we know about the island and can track over time, the better we know how to take care of Porphyry and also help support the Canadian Lighthouses Lake Superior to be able to provide better visitor experiences, as well as for Ontario Parks, better protection.
Avery McRae, TBT News.